Hello and welcome to FatBoss Weekly Season 2, Episode 17.
Hello.
And for the people who don't know, FatBoss Weekly is mine and Loz's weekly news show where we talk about wowie sort of stuff as well as anything else that is really important to us.
Indeed.
Yeah, and a lot's been going on.
Yeah, so to start off this week, World of Warcraft has gone on sale.
Yeah, 50% off for everything apart from Warlords of course, which is pretty goddamn awesome.
Yeah, so you can pick up WoW and Mist together for £13.50, which is about, I think it's about 15 euros. I couldn't actually go on to the Euro store and work out how much it was, but it's probably something like that. And it is $20 in the US.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah, it's
especially if you're
really
looking at doing Recruit a Friend with someone, or if you're looking at multi-boxing or something like that.
Or you're just coming back to the game.
Or you're just coming back to the game even, yeah. I mean, that's pretty damn cheap right now.
Well,
so.
yeah, well, it's really good, like, timing for me at least, because going on to another set of news, I suppose, is that we're going to be moving to the US, Lawrence, permanently. Fuck the UK. That's enough. No, but in all seriousness, I am actually planning on going over to the US servers in a live stream, which will be on Sunday, so I'm going to be actually going over on the US servers to see what all this American shit's all about.
With your brand new cheap account.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to cost me $20. It's going to be amazing. It's like the perfect time, because everyone's always just like, oh, when you come over to the US, and it was like, eventually, and then it's just like, oh, well, timing's perfect. So yeah, on Sunday, which is just coming up, we are going to be doing a little bit of a live stream over on the US servers. I think I'm going to pre-order Warlords of over there, so I get the free level 90. Yeah. And then I'll be able to do a bunch of random shit with you guys. Need you to boost me. Hopefully get in contact with a good guild. Get full best in slot. First
Midwinter might help.
Hour.
I can speak to them.
Yeah, I'll just make an account and I'll be like, Midwinter, we've got to talk, okay? You've got to boost me. I got to get all the gear, okay? That's the deal. I don't know what they get out of it. My company, I suppose. Wouldn't that be
Is it
nice?
worth that much?
I don't think it's worth anything. I think I have to pay them. But either way, yeah, we will be going over to the US servers for a little bit, and it'll be good fun. So come join on that on our live stream on Sunday.
Now, moving away from that, there has been even more Dev Watercooler blog posts on the WoW site. There has actually been 3 of them.
Yes.
And they all cover raiding. Yeah,
and I thought it was quite interesting. Like, there was 3 different parts. So it was pretty much one long Dev Watercooler, but they separated out into 3 different parts. And each part talked about a different thing. So part 1 talked about vanilla, TBC, and Wrath. Like, there was just covering what's happened in each one of those.
It was just a look back at how they decided to do different parts and how they developed it. And if you've been playing the game since back then, it's definitely worth reading, because it's like, oh, I remember when they did that change, or I remember when they did this. And, you know, they talk about their thought process behind it and how successful they thought it was. And it's just a very interesting read, and they did the exact same with part 2. They talked about Cataclysm and Miss, where they continued. It was the same sort of line of thought, where they were just talking about what they did and how they thought it went. And then part 3 is where we talk about Warlords of Draenor. Yeah. And essentially all they do is just talk about what the future of raiding is going to be in this game. And they talked about in this part 3, they did talk about things that we already knew. So they talked about the new raid structure,
like Mythic and stuff like that.
The new flex modes, the new Mythic. They also talked about Group Finder briefly. They also talked about Raid Finder as well, and they talked about how Raid Finder isn't going to become redundant, because that was something we picked up on as well, is that with all these new flex modes coming in, Raid Finder felt kind of pointless, especially with Group Finder, because Group Finder like boosts the amount of flex raids that would be done, or at least it should do. Yeah. Because it'll be so much easier to grab someone, and you just go on the Group Finder, and it's all cross-realm. Why would you do Raid Finder? But they did go into a few things that are new. Yes. That we didn't know. So, talking of Raid Finder, they did say, and I quote, "So how can we make Raid Finder a more compelling and enjoyable experience? A decent step is to first make it significantly more generous," so basically giving it a lot more fucking loot, than it has been in the past, nearly doubling the rate of the reward to better match the overall pacing of the content.
So we'll be getting more gear. So if
you sign up for Raid Finder, you will get more gear. But the gear itself, you will no longer be able to get tier gear in Raid Finder. You'll no longer be able to get specific trinkets. And instead, it will have a different loot table completely in Looking for Raid, and it also have different art. Okay. Yes.
So that's interesting, I guess. I don't really have a problem with it. Like, in all fairness, like going into Raid Finder, especially if that's pretty much the only thing that you're going to be able to do. Like, say you just
this sucks you if you're that person.
Well, in a way it does, and in a way it doesn't really.
Because my point is that tier bonuses are really, really important for most classes. Yeah. And trinkets are obviously a big deal, especially if you're DPS. Yeah. They're a big fucking deal.
And even for everyone.
And that's the reason why so many people in even massive guilds, like top 5 guilds, would still run Raid Finder and flexes on the first few weeks of Siege of Orgrimmar just to get those pieces, just to get the tier, so they can get the set bonuses. or the trinkets because they're so much stronger than previous tiers trinkets.
Yeah,
even on
like
Assurance
of Consequence and stuff like that. They're having the cooldown reduction on your main abilities.
It's a big thing.
Huge.
So them removing this means that the people who only do looking for raid, they may potentially have problems getting into a flex group or anything like that because they're not going to do as much damage as people that are already doing flex. It depends what the leap is. I mean, they did say, though, that the 5-man dungeon gear would be good enough to start doing the flexes.
Yeah, exactly. So
Looking
Finder
for
would be more than enough.
Raid Finder might just be in this sort of rift of nothingness where you can just go there if you want.
Yeah.
But by what they have doing, by making it so it doesn't drop tier and it doesn't give you specific trinkets, does mean that the hardcore raiders or the people who take raiding slightly more seriously than people who just sign for looking for raid once a week or twice a week or whatever, they don't have to go to looking for raid just to gear up.
Yeah, I think it's a good change, to be honest.
It's a good change for people like us who raid a lot, especially when it comes down to progression, and maybe people who are sort of like in the mid tier of seriousness, if you want to call it that. But it does fuck over the casual slightly, in my opinion. But with the whole group finder thing, I mean, if you actually go on these Watercooler posts, there is so many people crying about this, especially the more casual players saying it's the way that hardcore raiders behave in game by, you know, signing up for Raid Finder just to get these trinkets and items that is fucking them over. But with the introduction of Group Finder, I don't think it's going to be a big deal because you're still going to be able to get into flexes and whatnot.
Well, the thing is, like, a looking for raid, like, the whole idea of looking for raid is you can go and see the instance and you can get some gear, right? That's the general idea. You get to kill the boss when it has like pretty much no arms or legs, so it can't really do anything, but you get to see what the boss looks like and the whole instance looks like. The fact that you're getting gear twice as fast is an amazing thing. That's really, really good because you'll be able to get some gear, regardless if you won't be able to get any tier gear or you won't be able to get those specific trinkets. You'll still be able to come out there, say you do it like maybe, like now it might take you 10 weeks if you're unlucky to get a full looking for raid set. Now, it might only take 4 weeks or whatever, and you'll just be able to go through it in a very short amount of time and be able to progress quicker into like stuff like flexes, like the normal mode and the heroic mode. You'll be able to go into those quicker. So I don't see a downside to it, really. Oh, well, you don't get the specific trinkets and the set pieces, but you'll be able to get that in flex mode because you'll have enough gear from looking for raid. That looking for raid will give you enough gear to be easily be able to clear the flex mode because then you can get it in 5-mans.
Yeah.
So I don't see what the whole issue is. Like, you're going to be able to get it in a higher difficulty. I don't think looking for raid should have all the same gear. Like, that's my opinion anyway.
I kind of agree, but I can definitely see the point of view of people who only do looking for raid. For me, it'd be a little bit of a stab in my back.
Well, yeah, but I think people who only do looking for raid now, they'll be able to go and start doing flex modes. Because they'll be able to get the gear much quicker, and because of the new group finder tool.
Well, you can do flex modes in normal gear anyway, from 5-mans. Well, but anyway.
Yeah, you can, but you know, so I don't think it's going to be a huge issue. Like, I think people are just going, it's all different. So just calm the fuck down. It'll be fine. Jesus.
But moving on from that get over it, fuck you, looking for a casual noob.
It wasn't that. Oh
expressed.
My god.
Don't worry, guys, I love you. Alex doesn't. Alex fucking hates you.
Wow.
Warlords of Drano equipping for battle. This is a blog post that came up on the WoW website, and it is basically discussing PvP.
Okay.
Now, as most of you know, me and Alex know nothing about PvP.
Well, however, I think PvP is when you fight like other
players.
Okay, wow.
Basically, the monsters don't have aggro tables. They just randomly switch targets occasionally, and they use way more CC.
What's the point of having like a tank then?
I have no idea.
Do you even have a tank?
Sometimes they got to carry flags.
This is too complicated for me. Do they drop any loot or anything?
They will be.
What? Really?
That's what we're discussing now, yeah. So, even though we don't do PvP, I am aware of the problems in PvP with people being AFK and whatnot. And that if your team is losing, there's almost the mentality of, who fucking cares? Let's lose this quicker so we can sign up for the next one faster.
And hopefully
which isn't fun for both teams. Because one team just ruffle stomps and is like, well, that was fun, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like playing like a league game and then you like end at 20 minutes because you're completely stomping them. It's just a bit dull, you know?
Yeah. So here's a quote from the blog post. It says, "We're vastly improving the bonus rewards that you can earn from doing a random or call to arms battlegrounds. At the end of the match, you'll earn either a bronze, silver, or gold strongbox, or possibly all three. Which strongboxes you earn depends on how well your team did in the match, but you can still earn them even if your team doesn't win."
So an example they gave is, like, if your faction captured at least one flag before the game ended in Warzone Gulch or anything, you'll get a bronze strongbox. And if you capture a second flag, you'll earn a silver and a bronze. And if you actually get all three and you win the game, you get 3 strong boxes. So it's kind of like a way of making it
It just gives you more incentive. So if it is 2-0 down in Warsong Gulch, there's still the incentive for you to go get the flag and score. Because you could still get one of these strong boxes. And they did say that inside the strong boxes could be a number of rewards, honor points, conquest points, and possibly even gear. And they did go on to say the better strong boxes have better rewards, so even if your team is behind in a match, it's still worth to keep fighting to try and earn the best reward you can. And there was a screenshot of Ashran, the island, which is the PvP island that was announced at BlizzCon, and we discussed it in the BlizzCon videos that we did. They're still not ready to give any information about it. There was a screenshot just showing some of the loot that you could get off players. Like, when you kill a player, they'll actually drop loot, which I thought was kind of interesting. At least that's what the screenshot appears to be. But ultimately, Blizzard aren't willing to give any more information about Ashran just yet. It's either they don't know or they're going to release it in one big PvP dev post. Yeah. Kind of like this one, but focused on Ashran, I guess.
So, yeah, with this boxes system, I think that's really, really good. Yeah, I think it's a very good thing because I have done some PvP, especially like what I do. I normally do a lot of raiding, and then once the raiding settles down, I do a bit of a PvP as like a side project, like do a couple of battlegrounds and get really angry and never play again. So that kind of thing. So I think it would be a lot more compelling that it would actually make it so players really would like to go ahead and try and win.
Well, it just makes it more competitive and therefore would make it more fun because that's the whole point of PvP. To compete.
Yeah, exactly. You're fighting up against other players. Like, I thought it was quite interesting that they said a part of the post as well that they might have to change the battleground slightly to make it a little bit easier for the box system to work. Like in Narafi Base, and instead of it ending at 1.6, it'll end at 1.5, so you get it every 500, you'll get a box. Stuff like that. So I think it's going to be generally very interesting. And the fact that you can get gear, I assume that it's not going to be the best gear. Because they announced like 3 tiers of gear sort of thing that will be with Honor, which will be like the Babby gear, the slightly better Babby gear, and then the oh my god I'm amazing gear. You can get the Babby and slightly better Babby gear from these boxes by the sound of it, so it will help you get your gear quicker, because that's also a huge problem in the game right now. Going from PvE to PvP, getting a full Honor set is going to take you so fucking long.
Yeah, essentially you can't get green PvP gear. You just go straight into one of the tiers of PvP gear, which is what, like 2? Well, it depends on what season you're in and how far you are into the expansion or whatever, but you get my point. You still have to spend a lot of honor that takes quite a long time to get, and while you are getting that honor, if you've just started, you're useless. Really useless. You're completely useless. All you are is a hindrance to your team, and you need to do that to get the gear.
So you, generally you're in a battleground with a lot of people that are just trying to get honor.
Sure, you could get the crafter gear, that would be one argument I guess, but even so, the crafter gear is pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah, especially like towards the end of the expansion as we are now, like, because I think at the moment it caps your gear at 524 if it's PvE gear, and the actual PvP gear is 522, unless you get the conquest gear, which is 550, but like it does cap you out there, so having like, what is it, 450 blue gear or whatever? Nah, I'm alright, thank you. This just generally trash. So either way, I think these changes are amazing. So very, very good, very, very good news for everyone, I think.
Now more good news.
More good news. God, today's very positive, isn't it?
Blizzard on their Facebook page. This is where they seem to be announcing quite a lot of things recently.
Oh, okay.
They've announced a new mount, but they haven't said anything about it. They just shared us this picture, which looks very sexy. It's a fiery mount. It says, this fiery mechanical steeds are best when used with friends. Coming soon.
So new recruit a friend mount, I suppose?
Maybe.
It's strange that they're even, like, pushing recruit a friend. I thought they'd leave recruit a friend in the dust a little bit with this whole boost thing.
Maybe it's recruit someone to Warlords.
Possibly. That could be a thing, yeah. Maybe.
I think that might be it. Could be wrong, but I think that's it.
I don't know, that seems a bit evil for the people, because otherwise a lot of people missed out, like, because, like, I've already bought Warlords, whereas really you could have said, oh, Alex, come to Warlords, and I'll be like, oh, okay, and then you'll get a fiery horse or some shit. So that's a if you're doing that, that's bloody evil to everyone.
It could also be on the store. It could also be an in-game reward for logging in.
Yeah, or it could be with Hearthstone, StarCraft even. You got to play StarCraft, you got to get amazing and win all their tournaments, and you'll get a fiery mechanical horse for some reason.
Yeah, fuck knows. Anyway,
but either way, that's quite cool.
Yeah.
Now moving on to the part of the show, we look at our mail.
You guys know how it works. Send your mail to us on Facebook, Twitter, or on Twitch. Send us your questions, your pictures, your fan art, your shit.
Anything.
Whatever you want, and there's a chance you'll be featured in next week's show.
And kicking us off first is Stefanos on Facebook, who says, "Hello, Alex and Loz.
Hello.
I am a mage who raided half seriously into Siege of Orgrimmar, nothing extreme, and I recently applied to a high-end raiding guild, which was like top 60 in Siege of Orgrimmar and pushing for top 40 in Mythic. I've got two questions you can address. We'll do both. We're going to address both because we love you, Stefanos. He says, I have played mostly Frost Mage and have become quite good at it, ranking at 95% on Raid Boss as Frost. But my guild would very much like me to swap to Arcane due to the higher damage output. I don't have much experience with it, and due to me still being trial, I do want to perform to the best of my capabilities. What do you think I should do? And he also went on to say, also they want me to have a main ult which I get to 100 within the first week of Warlords of Draenor, and generally I suck at leveling. Should I tell my guild even though that I'm being trialed? You are the bombs. We're the bombs, Lawrence.
Thank you very much, Stefanos.
Okay, so addressing the first question of being able to do multiple specs. When you're in a high-end raiding guild, for me at least...
It's expected. You're always expected to play the spec for your class that does the most damage, or is the most effective at tanking, or is the most effective at healing.
Yeah, exactly, 100%.
The whole point of being in a competitive raid guild is to compete. And if you're not doing the best, then you're going to slow your team down. Even if it is only by a tiny amount, you're still slowing it down. The whole point is min-maxing, it's making the most of it. And even though you might do a lot of damage as Frost, you might be an excellent Frost player, you might be getting rank 1 on every single fight, you're still doing less damage than an Arcane or a Fire Mage. Exactly.
It would be much better for the guild if you were an excellent Arcane Mage or an excellent Fire Mage.
Exactly.
You've got to be very, especially like talking from a DPS, like I'm DPSing an all-in at the moment as on my Hunter. I went in there and I only knew how to play Survival, so I was just playing Survival. And then I saw someone completely trashing me as BM, and I was like, okay, I've got to go BM now because I don't want to be trashed on meters all the time. So I jumped on the BM bandwagon. And if Marksman suddenly became amazing, then I would go Marksman because you're always trying to do the most amount of damage as you can. Like, it doesn't matter so much in farming as long as you're not holding your team back necessarily. Like, when you're actually farming the content, you can pretty much do whatever the fuck you want.
People do whatever they want on farm.
Yeah, exactly. You can, like, come in this disc and I'm going for a DPS rank and it's like, alright, well, fuck it. We'll have to try and work that in. But, especially during progression, you've got to be on top notch. You need to know every single one of your class roles, and you've got to be able to do it very effectively. So if you don't know how to do that, like, a competitive raiding guild is not a very good environment to be in, because you need to be able to master your whole class. 100%.
Yeah, because it's only going to come back and bite you in the arse otherwise. You know, if they say to you, right, on this fight we need you to be Arcane or Fire, and you're not confident playing Arcane or Fire, and you come in and you just don't do the damage numbers, they'll just bench you.
Yeah.
And it's nothing personal, it's just there's someone else who's already on the bench who does more damage than you, so why is he on the bench when you should be on the bench? That's the way that they'll look at it. That's the way that the majority of top 50 or top 100 guilds would look at it. So yeah, really you need to start practicing your Arcane and your Fire.
100%.
And as for your main ult, if you're bad at leveling and you don't enjoy leveling and you don't think you have the time to level in the first week, it's only fair for you to tell them that you can't do it. But it's also kind of fair to yourself, because if you don't do it, you may potentially get kicked.
Yeah, exactly.
And you getting kicked or losing your raid spot within the first week or 2 weeks of Warlords at the start of an expansion puts you in a horrible position, because a lot of guilds aren't interested in recruiting at the start of Warlords unless they desperately need someone. But the majority of top-end guilds are already ready. They've already mass recruited. They already have a massive roster because they know that, you know, that people will... stuff happens, life happens, people, you know, have to go AFK, people can't attend.
Yeah, especially considering it's coming away like 6 months from now. A lot of guilds are really preparing for it.
Yeah, the start of an expansion is more stressful for a guild than a new patch. And especially with all the changes in Warlords of Draenor, especially to the whole raiding scene, it's going to be very, very stressful for a guild. You not having all your ults ready and all that, there's probably someone who's going to be there who does have an ult and is ready to replace you.
Exactly. So it seems like what you kind of told us is like you don't really have the time or like necessarily the knowledge of your class to really be in the position to be in a high-end raiding guild, like, because you can't invest that much time just because real life shit. So you've really got to look at how much time you can really focus on WoW, and if you can't focus that time or you don't want to focus that time, then you've got to be honest with them and just say, yeah, look, sorry, I'm not going to be able to do this in the first week.
Yeah.
So yeah, you've really got to
and if you are on trial, and well, I mean, usually that is something that would probably be cleared up before you started your trial, to be honest. But it sounds like they maybe didn't do that with you, which is kind of harsh, but I wouldn't flat out lie. There's no point lying, because it will just come back and bite you in the arse. But thank you very much for Stefanos for that question.
It's very kind of you.
Very good. And the next question comes in from Mollabek on Twitch, who says, "Hey noobs,
Hey.
do you think the requirement to start raiding is higher now than it was in earlier expansions, considering Legendary Cape is more or less a must for most guilds, which takes months to get? And in my opinion, there's also a much bigger gap between filthy casual peons and heroic big peen raiders now than it was before." Mollabek.
Well, the thing is, as you call them, casual peons, they're more than capable of getting the cape. You can do all that stuff through looking for raid.
The getting the cape is piss.
It
Especially if you've been playing the expansion the whole way through, getting the cape is really easy.
Yeah, but joining, if say you were like, okay, I want to play WoW again, I haven't played this expansion, and I want to go join a raiding guild right now, most people will just go, good luck, bro, see you in 3 months when you got your cape.
Yeah.
Like, that is quite a big thing for a lot of guilds to have that cape, because it is just a huge part of damage and a huge part of healing, especially if they're still progressing.
Yeah.
However, with a guild who have stopped progressing and maybe are mass recruiting, they can see, oh, he's been playing again for 2 months or whatever, and he's 2 months through his quest chain, at least he's fucking going for it, he'll get his cape eventually.
Yeah.
Like, I think a lot of, especially maybe higher guilds and stuff like that, they will be able to see he's going for it.
Yeah, we can see that he's actually going for it. He's actually getting pretty close to it now. He's almost there. He's almost got his cape. We might as well get him in this week. Why not? Let's get him in, even if he does shit damage or shit healing, or he hasn't got the tanking cloak and dies or whatever. It still might be worth for them because they'll see it as an investment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it still is so important. So I definitely agree. I think that the requirements to start raiding now are way higher than they've ever been before, and that's only because they've introduced a universal legendary.
Well, maybe back in vanilla.
Yeah, okay.
Vanilla was fucking much bigger than it is now.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe even Burning Crusade.
In vanilla, if you started playing in Nax around the time that the Nax patch was released, I can't remember off the top of my head what patch that was, and you wanted to go straight into Nax.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck. You were never going to get into Nax back then. You had to do Molten Core, gear up in Molten Core. You then need to go Blackwing Lair, gear up in Blackwing Lair. You then need to go AQ40, gear up in AQ40. You then need to, I mean, you might want to do AQ20 and Zolgarub as well to pick up certain pieces, because all the gear from all the different places, like. Because back then, itemization was so fucking bad.
It was so weird.
It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, some biz pieces were from really random places.
Yeah.
Like, so, I don't know. But to get into that Nax, you literally had to progress through each instance and gear up in each instance to finally get to Nax.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not as bad as that.
Or
But
maybe
still,
Burning Crusade. Burning Crusade you kind of need to do
I don't know, Burning Crusade still had a back... Burning Crusade actually did bring in a catch-up system right at the end, though.
Yeah,
with the vendors on the island where you could spend
Island Quell for us, yeah.
Yeah, whatever those fucking
Justice token things,
I can't remember what
something like that.
So yeah, that was one of the first catch-up systems were introduced.
Yeah,
and then in Wrath it was like, yeah, you could just play wherever you want because the gearing system was just like thrown at you.
Yeah.
And
it's
pretty much how it is today, apart from the cloak.
Yeah. And the cloak is a very, very big deal for pretty much everyone. Like, it's so important. So, yeah, I guess that it is quite a divide. And we have spoken about the bad side of the cape, the fact that it's such a pain in the ass to get, especially on, like, maybe ults and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, once again, making that account bound would be amazing. Like, the whole thing that you
Well, we're going on the US
account.
soon, aren't we?
I am not looking forward to that cloak on the US. Fuck, man. That's like the one thing. It's like, oh, Loz, I think I'm going to go play on the US. And it was like, what about the cloak? And I was like... Maybe not. Maybe not. No, I am still going to go, but yeah, no, fuck that cloak. It's such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and I think the gap between, like, you say that the gap between casuals and hardcore raiders is bigger than it was before. I think that's only ever determined by the content, so whatever tier you're in. And because you need the cloak, I think that doesn't help. So that's maybe why it seems more apparent. But ultimately, yeah, cape is a big problem.
Yeah, it's a problem, but it's also kind of cool.
Yeah, it's good that everyone gets their own legendary and you have to work towards it, but the fact that it takes so long and
it's just at the end of the expansion. It's such a problem at the end of the expansion,
especially if you're re-rolling and everything. I mean, they could make it a hell lot better just by making the fuck it. We said this so many times.
Yeah,
make the cape account bound. Don't make it character bound. Make it fucking account bound.
Yeah, so
it'd be so much better.
It would be a hell of a lot better.
I've got 5 of the fuckers now. I'm not doing any more.
I've done 2. I don't think I could do any more.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But anyway, that's all we've got time for this week, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching. If you would like to be featured in next week's FatBoss Weekly, then please do send in your mail to us on Facebook or Twitter or on Twitch.
Yep.
And we'll see you on Sunday for Alex's US live stream. I don't think I'll be there. I might be there.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see how it goes. But yeah, US is going to be good. Show me what you've got, America. Show me what you've got.
So is that
that's the end. That's the end. Bye.
Okay. Thanks for watching, guys. Whereas in the same.
Sorry, I didn't just sneeze.